Good blessed morning to you on this wonderful summer solstice day. The birds are singing and there's so much sound in the background. People are energised. There's a toing and froing. It's just such a beautiful day. And just over there, you can see the elderflowers out on the elder tree. And the little oak that I planted in the middle of the stone circle is thriving. Look. And everything is lush. And these ancient stones facing each other on this beautiful solstice morning. So we'll just go for a little walk. I let the birds speak. They seem to be so full of life and energy. And of course the beautiful colours as well. And the young sycamore tree. The sycamores, which are a native tree, have really embraced Bealtaine. They're all thriving. Look at some of these young ones. Aren't they beautiful? Now I've just heard the postman's van down at the gate, the door opening and closing. So I'll walk down with Jack later and see what's come in the post. And thank you, anonymous donor. I received your letter. From England. I think it's from England. Look at this little birch tree. Such a delicate little trunk on it. But look at the health. And there's the beautiful elderflower of the elder tree. And the lime trees. They seem to love it here too. And the wild rose growing through the blackthorn. Look how high up it is. And Mahonia, so vital a plant because of the flowers. In the depths of midwinter this will flower. So any errant bees will have food. A very strong scent from the flower which will draw the bees. And sometimes if you have a very mild winter, there can be the odd stray bee around. In the back of the old hen house. You can tell it's midsummer from the beautiful light. This is the longest day. This was where I originally kept hens. You can see there was a gate on here. They had a very big hen run. But now I use the old shed now for storing wood, kindling mostly. It dries very well in there because what I've done is I've taken off not just the door but quite a bit of the front to let the air in. That's a perfect place for fuel. And just beyond it, I don't know if you can see, that's my washing line up there. And there's my very much patched up roof. It was patched up 15 years ago with the intention of getting a new roof at some point. But if it isn't broke, don't fix it. thing with these old cottages is just to keep the flashing really in good order. So you can see the flashing there in this little bit. That was leaking, so I had to get some new lead flashing for that. And the flashing around the chimneys, because that's where water can get in. Other than that, and of course the ridge tiles. Keep the ridge tiles in fairly good order. Even though for 15 years I've had a ridge tile just sitting there holding that bit of the roof down. I love to point that out because it just shows you. It shows you that sometimes just the simplest thing can work. I mean, yesterday there was some massively heavy rain. There was such a burst of it. It was like just crazy stuff. And I went through to the front porch and there was a little puddle just on the floor, sort of on the step where the porch joins onto the cottage, and I thought, it's not really a leak, it's just where the rain was so heavy and came down at such an angle that for once in a blue moon it managed to get in. Oh, I'm just after seeing a little bird come out of that little bird box there. How lovely. How lovely. I think quite a few of the birds will be having second families, raising 2 families in a year. And I've been told several times so far to make sure all this clematis is cut down. But you know something? I'm just keeping an eye on it. It doesn't seem to have done any damage to the roof there at all. In fact, if anything, it's sort of protecting it. So I shall just leave it for the time being. There's a beautiful midsummer picture. So you see, the upset that I felt yesterday, I don't feel that today, because I feel a deep sense of optimism again. And I'm fueled by optimism. I always have been. I think actually part of that is due to the fact that my mother was a child who grew up in England during World War II. And she was such an optimistic person. And she rose like Boudica in a crisis. She was quite magnificent, actually. In fact, she loved a crisis because she came into her own power then, you know? And I thought that was wonderful. And I think that women do. Women come into their own power in a crisis. Because everything that they're condemned for, which is, you know, being emotional and overreacting and hysteria and illogical approaches to life, all that comes into this perfect into this perfect sort of weapon of how to deal with the crisis. And I think the first part of dealing with the crisis is to keep your cool, keep your head. And when you have a deeply emotional reaction, ironically, you become very focused. That's what I've noticed. You become focused. It's as though all the power that's in you is sort of pulled up and kind of put into this central eye of knowledge and of being. I'm loving all these bees around the fuchsia. Look at them all. Look at them. Look at them all. Let those who say we shouldn't plant non-native species like fuchsia come and tell the bees. Let them explain it to the bees. And if the bees agree with them, then so will I. Look at this, look at this, look at this. Well, I'm just going to leave you with the bees on this beautiful midsummer morning, because they're everywhere. Look, there's, I don't know how many there are, 20, 30, and they're all the wild bees, the solitary bees. Look at them all, they're so beautiful. I'm enchanted by them. I shall leave you with enchantment, and blessings to you all.